So thank you very much for joining the live session. This is our second week of the machine learning for civil engineers program. So today, inshallah, we're going to talk about how to set up a Python environment for data science and machine learning. But before we dive into the setup, I think we are going to. Okay. So before we dive into a setup, so why do you think learning Python programming is really important for civil engineers? Please you can write your answer in the chat. Why do you think learning Python programming is really important for civil engineers? Yeah, so I think there is many people online. So please write in the chat. Let me see your answers. Okay, so the reason is that data is transforming civil engineering because civil engineering consists of a lot of data. For example, like traffic data, bridge sensors data, crack image data, material test result, structural vibration, water demand, traffic demand. So Python helps to handle and analyze this data effectively. For example, like maybe uh, you want to understand maybe a traffic pattern at a certain location. So Python will help you to do that. So that's number one. Number two, Python replaces repetitive tasks and manual computations. I think a lot of procedures in engineering compose of repetition tasks and iterative procedure. For example, like Hardy-Cross method, slope deflection method is part of our structural analysis, and also uh, design of five lines also involves a lot of iterations. So I think Python can help to reflect this repetitive tasks and manual computation. For example, maybe if you are asked to maybe compute the inbox of a pi by pi matrix. So it will be a tedious work. So with Python, you can do it easily and more efficient without any mistakes. So that is why Python is also very, very important, especially in the part of finite element analysis, because it involves the use of matrices. And also, Python works with modern engineering tools like AutoCAD, GIS, BIM, finite element tools, sensors, and structural health monitoring system. So Python works with all these modern engineering tools. Python can be integrated with AutoCAD, the GIS, the finite element tools, the structural health monitoring system as well. And also the evolving of machine learning and AI in civil engineering, because AI and machine learning can be uh, can be used in damage detection, predictive maintenance, soil classification, pavement iteration, forecasting, and can even be used in maybe uh, compressed time forecasting because at times you don't need to go to the laboratory to test for the material. You can use the existing results and forecast the strength of the material. And the beauty of Python is it is an open source, free, and have a very large community. Because I think there was a research which was published in 2023 that about 10 million people are joining the Python community. So Python community is very large. Whenever you have a problem, you can connect with a lot of people and they are free to help you. So how do you set up a Python environment? To set up a Python environment, I think you need these five important steps. Number one, you need to install Miniconda or Anaconda. They are the same. The only difference is that Miniconda is a light version of Anaconda. For example, like for a beginner, you don't need to install an Anaconda because Anaconda is a huge software, so you don't need to install that. You can install the Miniconda. It has a lot. It is light version. It composed of a lot of packages of Anaconda. So like Miniconda is also sufficient for a beginner for machine learning journey. So the reason for this installing this Miniconda is it will enable you to manage multiple Python versions and getting isolated environments. For example, there will be a situation whereby you are using two different Python versions. You're using Python 3 and Python 2 at the same time. So Miniconda will help you to manage this version effectively. And there will also be a situation whereby you are using different environments. For example, maybe like you are using maybe a Python 3 in one environment and Python 2 in another environment because VS Code will allow you to create multiple virtual environments. So Miniconda will help you to manage this environment effectively. So that's number one. Number two, you also need to install Git. The reason for Git is that it will help you to have a version control and collaboration. For example, maybe if you are working on a Python project in your local machine and you want to push it to your GitHub, so the Git will help you push your to push your project, or I can say your contribution to GitHub. And also, the Git will also help you to collaborate with others. For example, maybe you are working on a research paper and you have 3 or 4 co-authors. So you can collaborate and to do the work at the same time. You are working on it, and another one will also contribute directly. So that's the benefit of using Git. So with Git, you can contribute to 1 or 2 directories, or I can say repositories. And another thing is that we also need to install the VS codes with essential data extensions. So VS Code comes with a lot of extensions. These extensions are essential in VS Code because it allows the VS Code to perform a certain task effectively. For example, like maybe you want to run a Python file, you can run the Python file without extension of VS Code. So you need to install the Python extension. So this extension are really, really important. For example, maybe you want to open a PDF file in a VS Code. You can't open a PDF file in a VS Code without extension of PDF. So we also need to install a PDF, like install extension of Markdown. You also need to install the GitHub Copilot because it helps you to write a code with AI assistant. Yeah, the AI will help you. For example, as long as start writing, you made a mistake, the AI will correct you and maybe suggest better way of improvements. So, and also, you also need to install the core data science and machine learning packages, for example, like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Scikit-learn, and also the PyTorch. These are essential core data science and machine learning packages. You also need to install this. And another important thing is that you need to also configure your Git and VS Code for a streamlined workflow and development. The reason why you need to configure Git and VS Code is that if you didn't configure your VS Code with Git, so whenever you are trying to push your contribution to GitHub, so there will be kind of a complication. You can't push your contribution to GitHub without configure it. So because Git needs to know exactly where you want to push your development to. For example, maybe you're working in a collaborative, maybe you're collaborating with your peers to publish a paper. So, and everyone is maybe engaged in a modeling aspect. So when you make your own corrections and you want to push your own corrections, the Git will enable your peers to see who made these corrections and what kind of correction he made. That's the benefit of Git. So these are the 5, that's the benefit of configuring your Git with VS Code. So it's really, really important. So whenever you want to set up a partial environment, I always recommend to start with a VS Code. How do you install VS Code? So this is the prompt of a VS Code. The first thing is you need to accept the agreement. After you accept the agreement, then click next. So if you want to create maybe a desktop icon, it's just like I can say a shortcut for VS Code. Then you tick for the additional icons. If you don't need, you can leave it blank. It's the same thing. Then click next and then install. So installing a VS Code is really, really simple. Without any stress, you can install the VS Code. Yeah. So after installing the VS Code, then you need to install the extension of VS Code. So install the extension of VS Code. You just come here and click for the extensions. So once you click on the extension, it allows you to, but make sure you have a very strong internet connection. Then It will give you a search box in the search box. So you can write the name of the extension you want to install, then you search for it. For example, like Python data science. You can search for Python data science and GitHub Copilot, Jupyter Notebook. So once you search for it, it will appear. Then you come and click install. Once you click install, the 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 extension will be installed in your computer. So this is how you install the VS Code extension. But make sure you have a very strong internet connection. At times, you don't need to, for example, like a Python data science, it's not a single, I can say extension, but rather it's an extension package, or I can say extension pack with a lot of extension, about 4 extension. You can find Python inside, Jupyter, Data Wrangler, and uh, I think GitHub Copilot. These are the 4 extensions you can find inside a Python data science. So you can also need to install Markdown because Markdown allows you to write a Markdown file in a VS Code. And IntelliCode is also really important. It can help you. It's just like an AI assistant code. Sorry, AI code assistant. So you also need to install the VS Code PDF because at times you may be working with a PDF file and you need to open it in the VS Code. So that's why it's really important for you to also install the VS Code PDF. So these are the VS Code extensions that you need to install in the VS Code for you to work with a VS Code, I can say effectively for data science and machine learning. So after installing the VS Code, then the next one is to install the core data science and machine learning packages. These packages involves the NumPy, Pandas, Scikit-learn, Matplotlib, Seaborn, PyTorch, and there is many more. So these are not only the extension, but rather these one are the most essential for the data science and machine learning. So NumPy will allow you to perform a lot of numerical calculations. For example, like maybe finding matrices, determining of the matrix, impacts of matrices, any kind of numerical calculation that can be performed with Python, it can be handled with NumPy. We have what you call the pandas. These pandas will allow you to perform, I can say, data manipulations. Yeah, it's really, really important. The scikit-learn is a machine learning uh, package to allow you to perform modeling, and also Matplotlib and Seaborn. These are the visualization tools. This Seaborn is, I can say, is built on Matplotlib. You cannot use Seaborn alone unless you are using the, I can say the Seaborn is an advance of uh, C- Matplotlib. So whenever you are using a Seaborn, make sure you also import the Matplotlib as well. Then you have what you call a PyTorch. This PyTorch is a deep learning package to help you to create maybe a torch tensor and perform a lot of operation, a deep learning operation on your network, work with Python. So these are the core data science and machine learning packages you also need to install. So how do you install these packages? To install these packages, you have two methods or two ways. The first one is using pip install, then you write the name of the package. Or you can use conda install, the name of the package. These are the two ways to install these core data science packages. For example, like this one, pip install pandas, pip install matplotlib. Why are you going to write this pip install? You can open the terminal and write pip install pandas. It doesn't matter your location in the terminal. Wherever you are in the terminal, you can write pip install pandas, pip install conda install matplotlib. But you need to be very, very consistent. If you're using pip, make sure you are using pip for all the remaining extensions you want to, sorry, for all the remaining packages you want to install. Please don't confuse yourself or don't become inconsistent of using pip and conda at the same time. Make sure if you're using pip, you're using pip throughout. If you're using conda, you're using conda throughout. At times, maybe you can have a situation where maybe you're using conda and want to shift to maybe pip while installing, but make sure you are very, very consistent. So the next, after installing the VS Code, it is extension and packages. The next one is Miniconda. How do you install Miniconda? Essential and Miniconda is really, really simple. To install it, you just Often the MIDI controller give you a prompt like this, click next. Then if you are the only one, if you have only a single user, maybe in your system, then you can click just no. But if maybe you have multiple users in your system and you want all the users to have a privilege of accessing the Anaconda, then you select all the users. Because if you install it just for me, it will not be visible in other users. So that's why if I just me, then it will only be you that will be accessing Anaconda. Just click next. Then these other terms you also need to agree with. I click agree. Then it prompts you with this one. Select the location, but make sure that your user has no space. For example, like down here has no space between N and H. Make sure your user doesn't have space because it give you a problems. So without any space, then you can install it right here. Click next. I think you have finished the installation of MIDI content. Okay, so the next one is installing the Gits. Yeah, this one has a lot of I can say about 6 or 7 stages. So once you click on the Git, it will prompt you with this. The thing you need to be very careful is make sure you tick this Windows Explorer integration. Make sure that often Git bash here, often Git GUI here are tick. Make sure that I check. These are the important things you need to check in. Often Git bash and Git often Git GUI here. They need to be checked. Once they are checked, it prompts you with another. Uh, Choose the default editor. So you can choose VS Code. Then let the next step is let Git use the recommended fast environment. So make sure you choose Git from the command line and also third-party software. So this will allow you to run the Git in both command line and also the VS Code. So you also need to, the will prompt you with choose HTTPS. So make sure you select use HTTPS instead of SSH. It also prompt you with choose default terminal emulator. Select use mini TTY as a default terminal. So, and all the remaining prompts, just leave them as default. Then finally click on install. So this is the simple way to install uh, the Git. They call it installation wizard. Yeah. So how do you verify your installations? To verify your installation in GitHub is very simple. But just open the terminal and write git space double dash, then write version. Once you write this, then click enter. So the git prompt will give you something like git version 2.xx.x, just like mine here in git version 2.47.0.windows.2. So this means my Windows was installed perfectly correct. So, but if you are prompted with maybe an error messages, so that means you have a problem with your installations. So the next thing is you need to configure your Git and GitHub. How do you configure your Git? Sorry, your Git and VS Code. So to configure your Git and VS Code, you need to have a GitHub account. You need to have a password. Sorry, you need to have a username, a GitHub username. You also need to know the email register for the GitHub. So you open your terminal, then you type git configure, git config space double dash global user dot name, then space double quote, then you write your username, For example, like mine, Abu Bakar, then enter. Then git config space dash 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 global user, sorry, git config space double dash global space user dot email then double quote, then I'll write my email address, then .com, then click enter. So this is how you configure so your Git. So I think this is once you come to this place, I think you have finished all the installations. And this is all for the installations process. So the next thing is how do you register for the how do you register for the GitHub? To register for the GitHub, you just need to register for the GitHub, you just need to register for the GitHub, you just need to open your your browser and then you search for the GitHub. GitHub.com. Sorry, let me open it with incognito. Yeah, let me open so that let me open it with because this will not allow me to create another one. Okay, let me see. Okay, yeah. So let me share my screen with you. So this is the GitHub. This is the GitHub. So to register for the GitHub, you come here. There is this place which is called sign off. Then you click on it. Once you click on the sign off, then you come here and register for the what? For the GitHub. You type your name here, the password, your username, then you select your country. Once you select your country, then create account. So to create GitHub account, it's really very simple. So just click here and create your account. So once you click here, your account will be created. So I think that's all for the setup. If you have any question, feel free to write it in the comment or in the chat. I'll be very happy to answer your questions.